Hello, people. Let us study about natural vegetation and wildlife, which is your fifth chapter in class 9 geography. So, what do you guys know about vegetation and wildlife? You might be having a vague idea that vegetation refers to all the plant community in an area, and wildlife refers to all the animal species, animal community, and animal life of the area. So, our country, India. Yeah, India is the 12th mega biodiversity countries in the world. Mega biodiversity countries means those countries which have intensively great amount of diversity. That is really great amount of plant and animal species. So India has 47,000 plant species, and thus it acquires 10th place in the whole world for that, and 4th place in Asia in plant diversity. There are about 15,000 flowering plants in India, which is 6% of the world's total. So our country is greatly diversified, and India has many non-flowering plants also, like ferns, algae and fungi. India also has approximately 90,000 species of animals, as well as great number of fishes in its fresh and marine water. Fresh water is the water in the rivers and lakes, whereas marine water is the river in oceans and seas. Natural vegetation refers to the plant community which has grown naturally without human aid and has been left undisturbed by humans for a long time. This is termed as virgin vegetation. So, virgin vegetation is the vegetation which has grown naturally without human aid and has been left undisturbed for an adequately great number of time. That is, all the plants growing without anyone's help on their own in an area which are endemic to an area are referred to as virgin vegetation. Virgin vegetation, which is purely Indian, is endemic vegetation, while which is brought from outside is referred to as exotic vegetation. For example, orchids are exotic plants. The term flora is used to denote the plant species of an area, while fauna is used to denote the animal life of an area. We have read about animal and plant life of an area in diversity chapter, right? Relief. Land affects the natural vegetation directly and indirectly. So right now we are going to study all the various factors which affect plant and animal life either directly or indirectly, and land is one of those relief feature. So there is not same vegetation in mountains and plains and plateaus, right? The land directly influences the type of vegetation grown. The fertile plains have more diversity of crops, and if more crops are found there, then obviously more animals will be found there. Fertile level is generally devoted to agriculture. The undulating and high terrains are large areas where grasslands and woodlands develop and give shelter to a variety of wildlife. So rough terrain also give shelter to variety of wildlife. Soils. Soils also vary over space. Different types of soil provide basis for different types of vegetation. Sandy soil of the desert support cactus and thorny bushes, while wet, marshy, deltatic soil supports mangrove and deltatic vegetation. Hill slopes support conical trees, right? So the type of soil, the same type of crops, same type of trees. Sandy soil in desert support cactus and thorny bushes. The deltatic soil supports mangrove and deltatic vegetation, and the soil of the hilly slopes supports conical vegetation. Now, climate also influences the type of vegetation and wildlife of the area. The character and extent of vegetation are mainly determined by the temperature and humidity in the area, precipitation, and soil. So, the type of climate, the type of humidity, the amount of precipitation, the type of soil, they also influence the vegetation of an area. On the slopes of Himalayas and hills of peninsula above height of 915 meters, the fall in temperature affects the vegetation and its growth. Yeah, you must be knowing about this since climate chapter, right? The climate affects the vegetation and its growth and changes it, and climate changes from tropical to subtropical as we go to a higher altitude, higher latitude, and the vegetation also changes, right? Now moving on. Photoperiod also affects the type of vegetation. The amount of sunlight received affects the type of vegetation. Some plants require more sunlight while other plants require less sunlight. Due to longer duration of sunlight, some trees grow faster than the other, and we say that plants grow faster in summer. That is also because of sunlight. Because due to longer duration of sunlight, trees grow faster in summers. Precipitation is also a grave event in plant life because plants are directly dependent upon rain for their growth. In India, almost the entire rainfall is brought in by the advancing monsoon or the retreating monsoon. We have read about this in climate chapter. Areas of heavy rainfall have more dense vegetation as compared to those areas with less rainfall. Yes, obviously rain directly influences the climate as well as the plant growth. Therefore, the more the rainfall, the dense the vegetation, and the less the rainfall, the less dense the vegetation. Have you ever thought as to why forests are so important? Yes. Why are forests so important? That is because they are renewable sources and they play a major role in enhancing our environment. They modify our climate, control soil erosion, regulate streams and other livelihood sources. They also cause wind. India's vegetation has undergone many changes due to land and development of industries and overgrazing and pastures. We must step against all these things because these are directly or indirectly influencing our ecosystem and they are causing hazards to it. We must be against over industrialization. Industrialization is actually good, but over industrialization is actually a bane rather than a boon. And most of the places in India don't have a natural ecosystem, don't have a virgin vegetation, except for those places which are unexploitable. For example, Murusthali. Murusthali is a vegetation is a place where there is actually virgin vegetation because it was actually a place which was unexploitable. Otherwise, all the places in India, all the forests have been exploited to some extent. Yeah, some places in the upper Himalayas are also those which are unexploitable and they are also housing virgin vegetation. So, and according to India's State of Forest Report 2017, the forest cover of India is 21.05%, that is less than 30%, which was desired by even the Britishers. So yeah, we are exploiting our country to a great extent. We must step against this. We must raise our voice. This is actually very bad. Okay, now saying you goodbye because this is the end of our video. Next video will house ecosystem and types of vegetation. See you soon. Bye.